See, from 1947 till about 2014, for about 67 years, we had 74 airports. Now 2014 to 23, 9 years, we built another 74, so which is 148. The aviation minister says in 2030, this should comfortably touch 220. So we are looking at 220 airports in the country. Wow. UP has got 11 now, Karnataka has got 9. And just looking at the potential into which India is entering, the potential into which. Indian airplanes, if you look at it, total airplanes in our country is approximately about 750 to 800 we have airplanes. But two companies have placed orders for a combined order of 970. Air India placed an order for 470. They said 470 airplanes we are placing. The whole world, and including the American president, thanked the Indian government saying, oh, 470 planes, you are giving half to us, you are giving half to Airbus, we are very happy. Within 6 months, Indigo places an order for 500 airplanes. Indigo says we are placing order for 500. So 970 airplanes is going to get added in the next couple of years, 6 to 8 years. And 750 to 800, addition of 970. Already remaining airlines are placing 20, 25, 30 kind of thing. The reason I'm trying to give you this number is, there is a huge change that is happening in our country. That is why we say the Americans got hold of the roads, and the Europeans got hold of the railroads. And both of them managed it for about 30, 40 years well. They went to a different growth trajectory. Now India, we are getting hold of the digital revolution. 50 years, 100 years from now, when you look at the history textbook, it will say, like how the Americans got hold of the roads, how the Europeans got hold of the railroads. History books will say the Indians got hold of the digital revolution. That is why when a lot of people met him, from Elon Musk to a lot of top guys met him. But one of the very important and crucial statement came from Mr. Sundar Pichai. And Sundar Pichai made a very clear statement. He said, look, Modi ji is way ahead of the digital pipeline. He is thinking 20 years ahead now, where India has to be in terms of the digital revolution. He is planning, he is meticulously doing it. That is what I like about it. This is coming from a guy who runs businesses in all countries of the world. This is coming from a guy whose net market capitalization is number 2 in the world. And this guy's bird's eye view is so clear and great because he sees every single demography that is operating. He says, this guy is thinking 20 years ahead. And he is laying a digital pipeline for how the world should be. Because it is not a joke, sir. A country of 142 crore, you link everybody by Aadhaar. Then you link everybody by a mobile phone. Then you achieve this trinity of every single paisa that gets transferred from Delhi. The last paisa safely comes and lands in your account. There is no more this middleman there, and there is no more this signature cost. And in fact, the G20 India is the president for G20 this year. And this is one of the themes that India is projecting to all the G20 countries. Learn from us about the digital transformation that is happening in our country. Because we have linked everybody from the beneficiary to a non-beneficiary to a bank loan guy. Everybody we have linked in a digital pipeline. That miracle is happening. So Sundar Pichai understands it. He says, okay, there is some miracle that is happening in the country. 20 years from now, if these guys catch hold of digital, there is zero pilferage, zero corruption, and there is a very organic way of doing it, less duplication. You can profile every single person, what he needs. You can target subsidy to him. You know how many cylinder people use every year. Is he using 6? If he's using 6, why is he not using 8? The kind of electricity they consume, you know why is he consuming less? So it is like every single Indian is uniquely mapped. So the government can single-handedly target each person with respect to what he wants. This probably Sundar Pichai understands. And because of this, the democracy is getting more deeper now. So gone are the days of Indian democracy, especially people from Tamil Nadu, my Tamil friends will know. And if government is transferring 500 rupees, one political fellow will carry 500 in hand. He will come and stand outside your home. And then to give you that 500, which is the government money, it will take a week of drama and tamasha. So democracy, we were very dependent on that one guy. Or if you are a Narega worker, you are doing that 100-day employment. To give you that 282 rupees now, there are two things involved. One, the local president has to give you an allocated Narega work. Once the Narega work is allocated in that area, then you have to give you an attendance for doing that work. Once the attendance is allocated, third, they have to give you money for doing that work. 3 things. So each was taking 10% cut. Before 2014 in the same old Narega, to allocate the work to your panchayat, there was a fixing arrangement with the panchayat president, you take 20 rupees out. Then to give you the attendance that you are doing that work, you take another 20 rupees. To give you the money for what you did, you take another 20 rupees. So 60 rupees was gone. Our very efficient panchayats were operating at 40 rupees. Inefficient panchayats were operating at 60. Now at one shot, you change the whole table. You change the whole table upside down to say, now the money from Narega that I am giving, it is going to go to a woman. Because pre-2014, close to 42 crore women never had a bank account in life. They never had a single bank account. So they were dependent on the postmaster, the postal guy, or somebody in the panchayat to give the money. Now bank accounts got open gender. Now Aadhaar is there. Mobile phone is there. All three got linked, called the Trinity. We linked it. Now you give a money, it goes directly to women in our country. So first time, the sisters and mothers of our country, they feel empowered. It is not just a vocal thing we say, oh, we treat our women equally, we treat our women with respect. Economically, you don't give respect to women. Then there is no question of equality that is going to come in our country. For the very first time, they feel economically empowered because the money doesn't go to the husband, the money doesn't go to a relative, the money comes into her bank account. She decides how is she going to spend that money. So this, doing it in a very complex country like ours, with 142 crore people, is no joke, which Modi ji has done, which people like Sundar Pichai is able to think and anticipate where this is going to take the country 25 years from now. The roads, of course, 94,000 kilometers was the net road laid around 2014. Now 9 years we took it to 1,44,000 crore. So it is not the numbers per se. You might get confused with the numbers I say, okay, what is this 94,000, what is this 1,44,000? But what I am trying to convey is pre-2014 per day, an average of 7 kilometers was laid in India's national highway. Thanks to Mr. T.R. Balu and my friends in DMK, who may keep attacking because we need all the funds to all the 7 kilometers per day was a national highway laid. Now Nitin Gadkari ji and all our efficient ministers, they have simply taken it to 29 kilometers now. And while coming, my friend was showing, Dr. Minister Reddy was showing, if you look at 2014 to 2023, the average is 29 kilometers per day. But if you look at 2020 to 2021, if you look at the later stages, we are hitting 37 kilometers per day. We are that kind of acceleration. So this is one sort of number. Airports, ports, Gati Shakti. The next level quality infra. Metro trains, 5 now 16 cities. Vande Bharat, taking the comfort of traveling to the next level. So this is a fundamental change that is happening in India with respect to the infra. So we are building an infra for the next 50 years. And this infra has to be the base minimum in which the country can leapfrog to the next level of growth. Now I remember when J.R.D. Tata had a very interesting conversation with Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, long time back. That was the time when a lot of theories were concerning the population growth to food growth. There is this Malthusian theory which said the population will go exponentially, but the food will grow only arithmetically. So that is the time the whole world was thinking how to increase the food production, especially the factors. And when India was at a very increasing population, when during the emergency time, they have to go for family planning, they were thinking of very ridiculous things like family planning to control the population, because they were simply worried, if population is going up and up and up, if the food is not going up and up and up, how is my country going to give food to them? That was an old way of thinking. And there is a very interesting conversation J.R.D. Tata had with Jawaharlal Nehru, where Nehruji said, how am I going to control the increased population? And very memorably J.R.D. Tata said, look, if you look at a guy who was born with one mouth to eat, as a businessman I am looking at a guy who was born with two hands to work. A very simple way of looking at it. I am looking at a guy with two hands to work. Now, we have just overtaken China, 142 crore. If this has happened 20 years back, the whole of India would be alarmed. Oh, India has become the most populous country. What is happening? Should we start restricting women from having more children like how China did it in the 1990s? Now, not even one single commentary in India, not even one single word in India talks about increased population. The whole of India is celebrating. Whole of India is celebrating. Look, we are the number one country in the world, which is very different. The old times I still remember. Just 20 years back when I was a small child, we all will talk about, oh, population is going up. Now, nobody is talking about population. Everybody is looking at, yes, look at the potential. In the world history, the highest number of working class population was with China, 91 crore, which they hit in 2018. 2018, Chinese had 91 crore people working daily. Now experts say in 2033, India is going to hit 104 crore who is going to work. In the world history, no country had 100 crore population which worked at the same time simultaneously. Record now is China. Now the next level of thinking the government Modi ji is, how are you going to create all these people, opportunities for them, skilling for them, education for them, so that they realize their God-given potential. So this is the second level of growth that India is looking now. That's why the IITs are going up, 16 to 23, IIMs are going up, 7 to 13. If you look at the universities have gone from 700 to 1,500 plus. The medical seats, 1947 to 2014, 54,000 seats. 2014 to 23, we doubled it, 100% we doubled it. Medical colleges, we doubled it. Now, very silent revolution that is happening in India. Now, any Indian you meet in the street, the word they use is skilling, upskilling, they use a reskilling. These are the buzzwords in an Indian street now. Or they talk about bringing foreign universities to gift cities, like Gujarat, like Maharashtra now. Can we bring all the global brands to India instead of our guys going outside and learn? When I was in UK last month, the High Commissioner was making a statement that we have just overtaken China. We have just overtaken China as the country with the largest number of foreign students in UK. So we have 245,000 students now. Next year in US, we are going to overtake China as the country with the largest number of foreign students in US. Australia, we have overtaken 3 years back as the number of Indian students highest in Australia. So all over the world, we see the pattern. We are seeing a pattern in the major economies that Indian students are becoming the number one students in each of those countries. UK, we just got 245,000 is no joke. Average Indian is spending 17,000 pounds in UK to get a quality education there. Now the thinking is, foreign exchange is going out, money is going out, dollar is going out, pounds is going out, Australian rupee is going out, Singapore rupee is going out. Now the thinking is, why can't we bring global brands into India? So IIT Madras has opened a branch in Tangibar here in Africa. And the first woman director is and the first director of that institute is also a woman from our country. And the concept of Narishakti. Now Indian brands are encouraged to go global. And the global brands are encouraged to come India. This is the second level shift the world is going to see. Because India is going to be the labor capital of the world in about 25 years from now, if you look at the projection. As we speak now, in the Fortune 500 companies, the best 500 companies in the world, 71 company CEOs are Indian origin CEOs. 71. Of course, we have Sundar Pichai and we can keep talking about the 2s and 3s and 4s. But out of that 500, we have 71 of Indian origin. Now, the experts say if the current trend gets maintained, so we should hit 100 in a matter of 4 or 5 years from now. So Fortune 500, 100 CEOs, 4 to 5 years from now, based on the current projection, will be Indian. So we will see Indian manning a global corporation, billions of dollars. So this is the future. You see 103 crore people working in our country by 2023. You see the Indian students going across the world. You see the world brands coming to India. You see the Indian brands going to the world. So countries like US, they know very clearly. Because they think very deeply. The biggest country, they think very deeply. They see, oh, if India is like this 20 years from now, where India will be. So that is why Modi ji gets extra reception. When Modi ji goes to US, they are head over heels now. The Bidens, they want to host a private dinner with Modi ji. And Modi ji also very, very famously remarked, 20 years from now, before when I came, I was standing outside the gate. I was seeing how the White House is, I was taking a picture and going now. 20 years later, when I come back to US, and the same country denied a visa also, we know. And now, the bigger powers are head over heels because they know this is going to be India's century. And they look at the numbers, they look at the potential, they look at the quality of students, they look at the labor market, they look at the brands that is coming into India. So the Indian story is true. Whatever Rahul Gandhi ji might come to San Francisco and London and say and get back, but the Indian story is deeply true because this is the ground level churning that is happening. The ground level churning is so true, so deep, that next 25 years, I think all of us are very fortunate, and you will be watching the India story thousands of miles away, And we, of course, would be watching the Indian story, also being in India. So all of us would be witness to this very miraculous transformation that the country is going to go through. Now, again, to buttress the argument further, because I thought the first 20 minutes I will talk about the very positive things, because I see the Western media, like a New York Times or a Washington Post or a Wall Street Journal or a Times or a Sun, they're more worried about somebody went and took a cow and some 4 people came and stopped it. This is a headline story in New York Times. And they talk about human rights abuse, a frontline story somebody writes. And sitting in Western capitals, they feel so happy that we have written a great story about India, about democratic rights and this and that. So India's story is not in time. So I thought the second part I will take time, because you are diaspora people, and at the end of the day, you are answerable to a lot of questions in this country. They come and ask you, what is this, what is that, what is happening in India? And the Western press somehow, it believes that the 2 English-speaking countries like UK and US, they can determine how India should be seen by the world. And they think you write in 50 papers, the English-speaking world will read it, a newsweek or a time, and they say, oh, this is how India is. So that is where the ambassador, the consulate general very clearly said that you will be the force multiplier, the first line of defense for us. Now, we will take it one by one, we will see. Now, Apple, first time they opened a store in Shanghai, 2008. The GDP of China was about $4.8 trillion. First time they opened a store in Shanghai, Steve Jobs, 2 stores, $4.8 trillion. The first time Apple opens a store in Mumbai, which is a couple of months before, the India's GDP is $3.6 trillion. First time Apple enters the country, we were at 3.6 trillion, 2 stores in Mumbai. They went to Shanghai in 2008, which is 2 stores, 4.8 trillion. Now, when people asked the current Apple CEO, they said, what do you see in India? And he quoted this, look, my predecessor, he went to China in 2008, I am in India now. I see how China was over that point of time. I see if India, if not matching China, it is only going to accelerate. Then why did he say it? Now India is at 3.6 trillion, China is at 13 trillion now. So 2008 to 13, 23, 15 years, 4.8 it jumped to 13. Now if we take the same 15 years now, 2023 to 2038, now where do we go now? He said, look, the potential of this country is so great, only 3% of Indians, they use an iPhone. That is the current standard now, only 3%. Now, you have to understand, my company is growing this country at a speed of 240% every year. It is like a jet speed it is going. He said and went on. May month, Apple alone exported 10,000 crore of cell phones from India to outside. 10,000 crore worth of Apple cell phones, May month. April and May was $1.6 billion. One company in India, having shops in Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and other parts, $1.6 billion in April and May. This is one story. Then there is this very famous sandwich chain in UK, London, called the Pret Manger. You must have seen. It is there only in London, it is not there outside. So this Pret Manger is a very, very unique sandwich shop. It says, I sell something in the morning, evening whatever is left over, I will not sell, I just gift it to the community. So any sandwich we see in Pret Manger, it is always fresh, always sourced locally, and next day if left over they give it to community. They say, we are not going to keep it in the store. Now this case came to Mumbai a month back to set up a new shop. The reporters asked them, look, you are not going to Paris, you are not going to New York, you are not going to Brussels, but you are going to Mumbai. What is the secret? He said, look, ours is a very complex operation, a sandwich, because every time it has to be fresh. People should have the potential to buy that sandwich. There is a market theory of potentiality. Then the supply chain should be efficient to supply things on time. So this, we believe India is the place where we get it. There is a potential where people can afford my sandwich. There is a pakka logistics chain where everything can come fresh across India. Now this statement made a lot of us very happy, because a company coming outside London for the very first time, looking at all these issues and setting up a shop in Mumbai. Again, they started in Mumbai, they want to expand across the country. The reason I'm telling you this story is, That is how brands see India. The global brands see India like this. Potential of population, the economic opportunity, the growth, the labor market, very deep democracy that is in our country, and the next 25 years where this country is going to grow. And this is one important thing the Western friends have to understand, that they cannot ignore India and grow. And India is a country that is not going to ignore anybody and grow. So India is waiting for a very firm handshake that sees India for what it is. So we are very happy when Narendra Modi ji visited US now. It is not the visit, it is not the address to the Congress which we are very proud of. Possibly the the fourth world leader who is addressing Congress for 2 times and above. That is all that makes very lot of pride for us as Indians. But what gives a lot of confidence is the kind of agreements that Modi ji was able to sign with the US and bring back to our country. For the very first time, we know the Tejas plane. We experimented, technology was denied to us after the Pokhran blast. Then Hindustan Aeronautics tried their best, we lost pilots, it crashed. So it's a very painful process, we took one after the other and we made the Tejas to fly. Now US knows very clearly. Now if it is not partnering with India now, India is going to invent its own technology. Now when F414, which is the engine in the F-18 Super Hornet, when the General Electric signed with Modi ji, they said we are transferring this F414 to you, which we haven't given to any other country till now. The first Tejas is going to have. So we saw, okay, the US is looking at India very differently. First time a major technology transfer is coming from the west to the east to India. Then the second agreement we had was, we had the Sky Guardian Reaper. We brought about 30 Reaper drones worth about $3.5 billion. First time US is giving to a country outside US. So 30 drones came, now it can go very high near the borders of China, much above Himalayas, and we can see what is happening. So second time it came. Then Modi ji goes to France, recently now. Now France, on the verge of closure of a Tejas M-ranked aircraft, which will come into our aircraft carrier. 3 Scorpion submarine deals on the verge of finalization. Now these are the things we never saw with India. I remember when Modi ji was in US, our media fellows were showing all the prime ministers who visited US. And Rajiv Sardesai, our friend, he was putting a documentary. He said, what is the Sanghis have to understand, the Bucks have to understand. Oh, even Jawaharlal Nehru got a big reception and he was taken in a car and the American president drove the car. So why are the Bucks so happy? The Bucks are so happy because after each prime minister visited the Americans, the final one-line press statement will come. Nehruji came to US, great visit, so we are increasing the aid to India. Indira Gandhi came to US, great visit, we are increasing the aid to India. So all the visits were meant to get aid for our country. For the very first time we see a break in Modi ji's era. You go to US as an equal partner, you do a handshake, you get the technology that is purely on collaboration. I'm sure some Indian engineers are behind F414, they're doing something. If you don't do it, they'll come back and do it for us in a matter of years. Now US understands you cannot deny India now. You got to keep India very close to you. You got to have very special friendship. So this is the second thing which I believe the friends here have understood. Now everybody knows India's time has come. It is India's century. And collaborating with India is always good for every single country. That is why the collaboration is happening. The third is the concept of democracy index, which you will see now. There are some democracy index which keeps coming off and on in New York Times, or here they say democracy in India is falling. Their democracy index have come down, alarming drop. These are the headlines I keep seeing in New York Times. Now I'm sure, how many of you have seen the democratic index criticizing India? People can raise your hands. Anybody has seen it? Okay. When I was in Warwick University a month back, a lot of students, I said, first question, everybody took their hand. I said, what is the question? They said, sir, what is this democracy index? My Western friends who are with me in the classroom, every day they're asking me, your democracy is falling, what kind of country you are? Now, the new trend of the Western democracy is bringing this democracy index into India to say, look at the numbers of this country, look at the numbers of that country. So that there are 3 democracy indexes now. One is the Freedom of Democracy Index, published by the Freedom House. Then the George Soros, he funds one index. Then there is one more index that again comes from the US. Now, one jobless day when I didn't have any job, I went through all the 3 democracy index to see how do you rate my country. Then one guy said, we rate your country, probably the top democracy index, we say, we rate your country based on interviews with 24 people. I'm like, 142 crore people. I thought you would have come to Coimbatore, you would have come to Lucknow, you would have come to Hyderabad, you would have come to Agra, Delhi. You must have spoken to people, how is democracy, are you voting freely? Is somebody snatching your vote and putting in the ballot box? Or somebody showing gun and asking you to vote? They said, we take interviews from 24 people. Then I further Googled to see who are these 24 people. They said they are our in-house resident expert. Great. So who are these in-house resident experts? They said, no, they are human rights lawyers, they are this, they have studied in Oxford, Cambridge, they are big people. So we give them a questionnaire. They fill up that questionnaire because they travel the world very largely. And the average we put for each country, so India comes down. Then George Soros, who runs this, who wants to build a university in California, $1.6 billion. And he said the motto of this university is to prevent the spread of nationalism. Have you seen this anywhere in the world, sir? Bill Gates puts money to prevent the spread of malaria. And a lot of people put money to prevent the spread of something. First time I am seeing George Soros putting money into a university under the Open Society Foundation, saying, I want to prevent the spread of nationalism. I don't like nationalism. Why is this Modi fellow nationalist? That is George Soros' argument. So many a times we see the Western way of looking through the George Soros eyes. They don't want a nationalist country like India, which is very proud about its tradition, culture, heritage, which proudly displays who it is. So they think it is a threat to the liberal Western democratic order. Countries like India are a threat to the Western liberal democratic order. I really don't know what is the Western liberal democratic order, which India is as liberal as the Western country. This is the second argument. Now this is the place where we got to be very careful. Now if you remember 10 years back, if an Indian parliament delegation comes to America, and they'll be meeting, it's a standard format they meet. There'll be a low-ranking officer in the US state office, they'll be meeting there. Then some senator will host them a cup of coffee, chai, they'll give some cake. Then, importantly, they're meeting somebody which will be called the religious or the human rights committee of the Senate. And then they'll put one photo. They'll say the Indian parliamentary delegation came and America expressed its deep concern for the falling human rights violation in India, and one photo will come and we'll come back. This 10-15 years back. Now unfortunately we have Jaishankarji. Now he goes to US. The same photo Now Jaishankarji says, if you do this, then India also has to investigate the human rights violation that is happening in US. And first time they are like, what is happening? Till now, this is not a very ordinary statement, sir. It fills our heart with pride when an external affairs minister is able to articulate this kind of statement in a foreign soil. But what is more important, sir? India never truly had an independent foreign policy until 2014. This is something which we have to acknowledge. And your votes in UN General Assembly were mostly on the US side or on the Russian side, looking at who's giving you aid, who's taking care of you in the global politics. For the very first time after 2014, Modi ji started making foreign policy decisions that started putting India's interest first. America takes a stand on Russia, Ukraine. India has to take a stand on Russia, Ukraine. It is closer to Americans. For the first time, Modi ji said our stand is different. And we are very different. First thing are like Americans, wow, what is this country? Suddenly they go for, and France now it says, oh, India's stand on Russia, Ukraine is the best stand, we should have taken that. Now we are releasing it after 2 years, the French president Macron says. Now what is happening, sir? The third point to counterpoint the Western narrative is, India for the very first time we are entering into a trajectory of an independent foreign policy, which the global powers will never like. The global powers will never like. They say, how can you ask independent? Because many of our interests are tied. America is a great country, friends to us, strategic partnership, fantastic. Russia is our friend, fantastic, great country, strategic partnership. That is all fantastic. But doesn't mean that India should not have an independent foreign policy. So this is where a lot of rubbing is happening in the Western media. Now, middle of a war, like our CG was telling, 22,000 Indian kids stuck inside. We remember as BJP Tamil Nadu, we were running a toll-free line there are 1,968 Tamil students stuck in Ukraine. So we ran a call center after the war started. We said, look, if there is a problem, you call our call center. So people used to call our call center. We compiled everything, we sent it to MEA. Then MEA will go to the embassy. Very quickly they'll respond, the student is okay, the student is here, the student is there. We were doing that service as a political party because we have to do it. Then suddenly we saw Indian Prime Minister Modi ji is able to stop the war in a conflict zone for 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours comfortably. Then create a very safe human passageway, brings these 5 zones, they come out, and you have a cabinet minister along with our very experienced and great diplomats standing to receive them. Then you have flights and jets positioned to carry them. Safely you bring everybody to India without a scratch. The running joke in India, the government of Tamil Nadu formed a committee.
Modi hai to mooking hai.
The government of Tamil Nadu formed a committee. My Tamil friends would like this joke. They said we are sending 5 ministers to all the Ukraine people, and our ministers will bring the Tamil Nadu students back. As the BJP president, I gave a press counter to our CM saying, are you joking? Are you sure? Are you in your senses? How is this fellow going to enter Ukraine? They said, no, Modi ji is taking all credit, and we will also send our ministers. Then all the ministers started from here. They went to Delhi. They stayed in Tamil Nadu Bhavan for 4 or 5 days. Then our senior diplomats have mapped it so well. A student gets picked up in Kharkiv or in any part of the Ukraine, right from boarding a plane, landing in India, right from the last point of destination was mapped in Ukraine. So this guy landing in Chennai was mapped in Ukraine. So the student gets picked, he has to go to Erode, the closest airport is Chennai. It was mapped and this guy lands in Chennai. And our friends didn't know. Then the 5 ministers turned back. When the first plane came with about 200 students, they were with Mala. Then I said, look, what are you doing here? He said, no, we went to Delhi, but we didn't know what happened. So we took a flight, we came back. Then I told one of my person to put an RTA. I said, put an RTA to see how much Tamil Nadu government spent for it. My Tamil friends must have seen in media and WhatsApp joke. They spent 3.6 crore for 5 ministers from Chennai to Delhi, Delhi to Chennai, putting Mala.
3.6.
Then we are like, how did you spend 3.6 crore? Then the next argument they gave, no, we booked buses in Ukraine. And our department took care. He said, okay, please give us, RTV said, please give us the bus number, from which account the money was transferred. Then we thought, oh, this is the general state of Indian politics. The hardworking bureaucrats or the ministers will solve a global problem and you will do everything. It's like that 26 fellows who joined together yesterday. 26 people they joined together yesterday. So joining together, totally clueless why they are joining together. All joining together. But it's so if you put 2 fellows in one room for 1 hour, they can't sit together. Because there's so much enmity, so much envy, so much jealousy, and their karyakartas in the ground gets killed. You go to Bengal, one karyakarta will stab other, TMC and Congress, daily somebody gets killed. But there the leaders were sitting together. Because what? Pure hate for Modi. Only hate for Modi, nothing else. And it is like somebody, very innovatively, they must have taken a lot of time to say this is India Alliance. INDIA. That too very creatively they felt for I one explanation, N one explanation, D one, I one, A one. In Tamil, we have this very famous proverb. One cat wanted to be a tiger. And that cat went and asked somebody, how can I become a tiger? Then the other person said, it's very easy to become a tiger. All you have to do is take a chalk piece, put line on your body. Put line on your body. If you put line on your body, you look like a tiger cub. You go and tell the world you are a tiger cub after putting line. There's 26 people, they wanted to be tiger. So one chalk piece they took. India, they wrote on top of them. These people have to understand. When they call themselves as India, the Alliance for India and everything, they have to understand. In 2004, when the same group joined them, so the country never had a prime ministerial candidate. 2004 elections came, results came, they all sitting in a room. I still remember our great Kalagir Karnanadiji went there fighting what seats he should get for his party people. They asked people who is the Prime Minister. They said we don't know. Sonia Gandhi could be, but we don't know. Or Sonia Gandhi would nominate somebody, we don't know, but we are waiting. They waited. Finally, Manmohan Singh ji was brought as the Prime Minister. Then, next what happened is the allocation of portfolio. DMK said, we are giving you 38 MP. So we demand 2 lakh crore portfolio. They looked at all the things, they said, what is 2 lakh crore? Surface transport you take, telecom you take, chemicals and fertilizers you take. DMK took 1, 2, 3. Mamata said, I am giving 20. Why can't you give me railways? Okay, take some for railways you take. This is how portfolios were allocated. Now, these people are thinking that Indians have forgotten 2004 to 14. How a group of chameleons they joined together, selfish people, and they put their personal interest beyond country's interest. They sold every single portfolio. And this T.R. Balu was so corrupt from 2004 to 9. When the UPA 2 got formed, Manmohan Singh ji opened his mouth and said only one thing. He told Mr. Karnataka, you can ask anything from me, but please don't ask T.R. Balu to be given a portfolio again, because the kind of money he made in 5 years, we never knew people can make money in surface transport. He has made so much money. So except T.R. Balu, then what Kanagya Karnataka did a deal is, okay, he is a smart fellow. He said, I will not send T.R. Balu, but you give me 2 extra Minister of State. Manmohan Singh ji, to escape from T.R. Balu, he gave 2 extra Minister of State. That is our whole story. Now this story, people of India don't forget. How Mr. Raja, the first come, first serve policy, first time in the world, and your business people here, first time in the world a person changes the 2G auction methodology. He says, first come, first serve. Then people said, what is first come, first serve? He said, who takes the application form from my office first? And who fills up the application form first and gives it to me, I will give you license. Then, if anybody is following the 2G scam and the investigation, then they said, the application is 726 pages long. He said, somebody has filled up an application in 6 hours. How is it possible for a person to fill up 726 pages? All your financial data, this, that and all. It takes tender document to fill 10 pages only, it takes 15 days. Manmohan Singh ji writes to him official letter saying, don't do first come, first serve. FCFS. He writes back to Manmohan Singh as a minister to Manmohan Singh saying, I will do first come, first serve because I believe Prime Minister, it is the right thing for our country. Have you seen a correspondence in India, anywhere in the world, a cabinet minister writing back to the Prime Minister stating, I believe Prime Minister, first come, first serve is the right one, I am going to do it. He did first come, first come. 1,76,000 crore, we all know. So each minister we can tell stories. Mamata Banerjee, now they are demanding the resignation of Ashwini Vaishnavji. Now, the political party, they say Ashwini Vaishnavji should. Such a clean person, such a honest bureaucrat, such a guy who brought technology into Indian railways. Before he took over in 2014, roughly 8% of the broad gauge was electrified. Now 92% of broad gauge electrified. We can keep giving numbers after numbers after 2014, before Vaishnavji now. Every single parameter, this guy has achieved 100% marks. Ashwini Vaishnavji is not even 90, it's 100% every single parameter. Suddenly, one train accident, which is very unfortunate, we all feel very bad. Shouldn't have happened, human error happened. That is for the authorities to investigate. Suddenly, they all gang up. And Mamata Banerjee in a press conference, he says, Dharmendra Pradhan ji standing to the right and Ashwini Vaishnavji standing to the left. Press is asking, how many people have died? Mamata Banerjee says 500 have died. Have you seen the press conference? Yes. 500 people died, she says. And the greatness of Ashwini Vaishnav, such a humble human being, and today also happens to be his birthday, and Ashwini Vaishnavji tells Mamata Banerjee, Madam, don't speak like that. Official confirmed is 262, we are counting. No, people are telling 500. So this is the state of Indian politics. You come, people's life don't matters to you, you say 500. It was a shameless public display where the right. Now this Mamata Banerjee, when she took over Railways Minister from 2004 to 14, after she became Chief Minister, would you believe India was running without a Railway Minister for whole 4 months? Because she did not nominate a Railway Minister to Manmohan Singh's cabinet, saying it is my right, I have 20 MPs, I have become Chief Minister, you cannot allocate a portfolio to anybody in railways, I have the right in TMC. 4 months India was without railway minister. We had 2 accidents, 70 people died. 17. Now, after 4 months, then Dinesh Trivedi ji was nominated. Now, these are the people who are talking about politics. These are the people who come together, they talk about the world called India. These are the people who come together and say, oh, we have to remove Modi ji. Now, one thing I can tell you, sir, the people of India have become so smart. You might have a little apprehension, thousands of miles away to see how is Modi ji going to perform in 2024, how is he going to get all these negative factors, all those fellows have joined together. But inside India, anybody will vouch. Modi ji is going to come back with nothing less than 400 MPs. Nothing less than. The more they do it, and this is where the common middle class Indians revolt against the system. The more tamasha he wants to see, she revolts. And first time a woman who has got a house under Modi ji, when we go to the field, we see, first time she speaks with pride that my daughter got married in the house, first time I got Swabiman. 11 crore Indians for the very first time, they have toilets after 2014. Toilets first time. And before that we used to see in papers, a woman has to get up 1 hour early, take a torch, go outside the village when no male wakes up. And there is a threat of rape, threat of sexual harassment, molestation. And first time we don't see that stories in India. First time she feels empowered because somebody thought about me. 1947 to 2014, how many prime ministers came to this country? How many fellows were in Delhi? Did anybody of you think about me? Did anybody of you think about me not having a toilet, not having a house? First time an average middle class woman, she feels revolted that this guy is doing everything for me. You do all this tamasha. You join in Patna, you join in Bangalore, all AC hotels, next you join in Mumbai. So the more they do drama like this, the BJP seat can only go up above 400, nothing less than 400. That is something which I can assure you. Because the base has changed, the promise has changed. People see politics very differently. But very unfortunately, these politicians don't understand. Because they live in their own famous clubs, family dynasties. And as we speak now in Tamil Nadu, one minister is in jail. Yes. ED right. One minister is in jail. One minister got ED raided day before yesterday. We are not sure whether he is going to jail tomorrow or day after.
Because of you.
One minister, the ED has filed an intervention petition in Thoothukudi today saying that is a sign that something is going to happen in the next few days. Yes. So now we are seeing somebody taking on the corrupt ecosystem of Tamil Nadu, the Dravidian so-called DMK ecosystem. And the kind of money they have minted, they have every leeway to give up to 5,000 rupees per vote. Now somebody finally, Modi ji, finally the central government, they say, look, now this is the time we have to shift to clean politics. Now, many people might ask right now, where is clean politics in India is 100%. It is democracy. Nowhere democracy is clean. 2014 to 2019 is more about the social change. Toilets, houses, bank accounts. It's a social change for 5 years. 2019 to 2024 is more about development. Roads, ports, airports, Vande Bharat. So 2024 to 2029 would be the time for clean politics in India because everything has to go by stage. People have to accept that. So we are very sure this 2024 is going to be a very important election because that is the time very finally India is going to get into clean politics era. Now this case perfectly understand. They understand, okay, 2024 we lose. There is no way our party is going to survive. Everybody knows. They want to experiment. 450 seats, one candidate will stand. The rest 83 seats, multiple will stand. And already they are doing research. This seat you are famous. There is minority here, you stand. That seat I will stand. Now this, sir, I can give you a prediction. Beyond December, if this alliance is lasting, then there is fundamentally wrong with my political understanding. I am very clear as an Indian citizen. There is no way I see this alliance lasting. If anybody of you have your cell phone, you can record it, sir. No way I see this alliance lasting beyond 2023 December. Because this is an alliance of incompatibility. You cannot have a sheep and a cloud and a wolf and 5 people together in the same room. You cannot lock and say, you decide your leader and come out. It cannot happen in politics. It cannot happen. So this alliance is only going to create more tamasha. But when it falls down, it will be so bad and pathetic No opposition party is going to try making this alliance for the next 25 years in our country. But it is 100% going to come down because you cannot bear the weight of your own burden. It's like so much burden you have to bear collectively. It is going to crash land for sure. 100% we see this crash landing. Now we have taken a lot of your time. We have taken about more than 50 minutes. They gave only 50 minutes, 40 minutes now. But thank you, sir. But the story of India is so beautiful. We are doing it the Indian way. Just today, Modi ji has tweeted, if you have seen. You got our 105 artifacts from America back. Yeah. Today we got it. And we take a lot of pride. We say, this is a country where everybody came and looted and went. Everybody came and looted. There was one British guy who wanted to take Taj Mahal back to London. He said, okay, but they didn't know how to transport Taj Mahal from there to the Mumbai port. That's why the idea was dropped. The history book says somebody changed his mind. No. They thought whether efficiently they can transport. Now, every loot went out. Now, to reclaim who we are as India, it is important that we hunt down this treasure that is in rich people's home in US as a doormat, that is lying in Albert Museum in Australia, thousands of our pieces, or decorative pieces in the western capitals, where a Nataraja is a decorative piece, or a Shivalinga is a decorative piece, or a Krishna is a decorative piece. Now, for the first time, Modi ji has taken a lot of effort to make sure every single Indian artifact has to come down to our country. Now, you might ask me, what did you achieve? 1970 to 2014, which is about 44 years, 13 artifacts came down. 44 years. 2014 to 2023, as on today, 338 artifacts have come, including the 105. For Tamil people, we got one Nataraja today, we got one Sambandar. These are thousands of years old. There is no value to it, there is no, you cannot put a number to it. We got one Sambandar and one Nataraja. And for Maharashtra, they got one among the 105, the major ones, which are 1,000 years old. So very first time we see this coming back, this gives us a lot of pride. And the civilizational ethos is getting re-established, the Dharma is coming back. So with this, we thank you for coming here. I think a lot of kids are here, we should not take more time to bore you. And it's a great privilege to be in Jonas Sir. And our heart swells with pride. And many of my Tamil friends and Kannada friends are there. அவங்களெல்லாம் பார்க்கும் பொழுது ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். காரணம் 5-6-7 நூற்றாண்டுகளுக்கு முன்பு எவ்வளவு கஷ்டப்பட்டு அவங்க வெளியே வந்திருப்பாங்க. The kind of pain they must have gone through. And one of my Aspen fellows is a Tamil South African. We were sitting in Santiago many months back. He said, brother, can you help me to try and trace back my ancestry? I must have come from Viluppuram, Kallakurichi side. And 6 generations now. And I want you to trace back my ancestry. I said, look, I'll take it as a mission. And we are in the process of tracing back. So I said, look, we will trace it back to you. We will find the exact village from which your parents must have moved. And we will find not only your parents, but also the other people who must have. We are in the process of doing it. So the way in which he asked me, we were sitting not in India, not in South Africa, we were sitting in a third country. And he was telling me, till I find it, my life is closed. I have to find it, how did they come, where did they come, what has happened to my village, what are my old relatives doing. And this is something which is a life search. And many of you here, I think I can connect to you. குறிப்பா தமிழ் மக்கள் வந்து அவ்வளோ வெளியே வந்திருக்காங்க. இலங்கை, சிலோன், சுரினா, வெஸ்ட் இண்டீஸ், இந்த பக்கம் சோழர்கள் காலத்தில் போன மாதிரி மோர் டு மலேசியன் சைட், சவுத் ஆஃப்ரிக்கா. அதே போல் ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಿಂದ அந்த ಊರಿನ ನಾವು 9 ವರ್ಷ இருந்திருக்கேன். ಕನ್ನಡಿಗರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಭಾಳ ಸಂತೋಷ ಸರ್, ತಮಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಭಾಳ ಸಂತೋಷ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 5-6 ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಬರುವಾಗ ನಾನು ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಹೇಳಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಭಾಳ ಸಂತೋಷ ತಮಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸೌತ್ ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಪುಣ್ಯ, ಒಂದು ಭಾಗ್ಯ ನಾನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್ ಭಾರತ ಅಸೆಂಬ್ಲಿ ಹಿಯರ್ and Gujarat, UP, Bengal and every single state is represented here. It is only our bhagya because we four represent the essence of Bharat. Somebody in Gujarat, somebody in UP, somebody in Andhra, somebody in Tamil Nadu. So we represent the true essence of Bharat, the essence of Bharatiya Janata Party, the essence of what Modi ji is. Likewise, all of you are sitting here, sir. It's a great privilege, great privilege. It's a singular honor that we are able to meet you in Johannesburg. We are seeing for the first time. We haven't met you, you haven't met us, but when we leave it, we leave with a heavy heart. When we leave this room, we leave with a heavy heart. We move as if a part of our heart we are leaving here and moving. A part we are leaving and moving. So our bonds will get more strengthened. And whenever you make it a point to come back, you can. All of us are here, and our contacts are with Amit ji and Embassy sir, Corona sir, community with Sasikumar and I may contact with you. Just make it a point to come, cup of coffee. If you think we can do something back home, it will be our utmost honor to do it for you. Something back home. Facing somebody, finding something, giving a connection to you, the loop, closing that loop. It will be the single greatest privilege for us to do it for you. And just take liberty, phone call. ஊருக்கு வந்தீங்கன்னா தயவு செஞ்சு வாங்க. Anybody coming to Chennai or to Hyderabad or to Ahmedabad or to Lucknow, make it a point to meet us. So thank you so much, sir. We are very, very, very